Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Quentin and you're watching Mid-South Outdoor Life, a channel dedicated to living an active and outdoor lifestyle. And today I'm bringing you a DIY video, or more specifically, a fishing related DIY video, all about box anchors. The reason that I decided to cover this topic is because I've had a lot of subscribers over the past couple years ask, how do you anchor this big goofy boat in the Mississippi River and all that current? Well, it comes down to this. This is a really simple box anchor that I made at home for very little money, and in this video I'm going to show how you can make one too. Now, all that said, the reason I'm doing this video at this time is I've decided to make a couple of tweaks to this design that just might make it even better than it already is. So we're going to go ahead and get into making that anchor, and then I'll show you the new anchor compared to this anchor and tell you how you could make either one by yourself at home with simple tools. Let's go. Okay, now I'm going to cover both the materials and the tools involved in building either or both of these box anchors. That being said, we're starting right here. This is going to be one of the variables on the version 2 of this anchor. This is a 1/4 inch thick piece of angled steel, or angle iron, a lot of people like to call it. You need at least 30 inches of this. Next up, also 1/4 inch in thickness, just some flat stock. This is 2-inch flat stock, 26 inches. You need at least 26 inches. You need some 3-inch flat stock. This is 28 inches. You need at least 28 inches if you want to build to the exact dimensions that I'm doing in this video. Other than that, the only thing left is the chain. This is 6 feet of chain. I would call this like a medium duty chain. If you measure the thickness of these links, they are 1/4 inch and they're almost 2 inches long. I don't know the total weight of that, but I'll get it and I'll put it on the screen. That's all for the materials. Crazy simple, right? Now the tools. Again, super simple. We're not doing a really precision job here, guys. As long as you do some good measurements and do a halfway good job of your cutting, this will come out in a way that I think you'll be satisfied with. So what do you need? You need a square, need a marker, tape measure, safety glasses, and then you need a grinder with a cutting wheel, and a grinder with, well, you could do the same grinder, but you need a cutting wheel and you need a sanding disc. If you wanted to make it a little bit more precision, or maybe a little easier, you could use a miter box, but then you'd have to use a hacksaw, so that'd be a pain. Your other option, of course, would be some sort of a metal cutting saw. I like to use a bandsaw. Whatever you got will work for this project. Okay, first up, we're going to cut down this 30-inch piece of 1.5 inch angle. We're going to cut it into 3 10-inch pieces. That's going to make both of our ends, whether you call it the front or the back and the front. We're going to make our ends right now. Now let's cut down those side pieces. This is that 26-inch piece of 2-inch flat stock, 1/4 inch in thickness. We're going to cut it into 2 13-inch pieces. Okay, time to cut down this 3-inch flat stock to make the teeth for the anchor. Now we're actually making 4 teeth. 2 of them are 6.5 inches and 2 of them are 7 inches. We'll talk about why in a little bit. Let's do this. Okay folks, the cutting of all the pieces is completely done, and I'm almost ready to stick these together and make it look kind of like that. But before I do, I want to go over the pieces and also discuss a couple of subtle design elements that I think are really key on this. So, the inventory of pieces is we have a total of 8 teeth. I may have said earlier that we only have 4, but we do in fact have 8 because you got 4 per side. You've got 4 that are at 6.5 inches and 4 that are at 7 inches. We'll get back to that. We got 2 side plates. 1, 2. And we have a total of 3 end plates. Why 3 when we only have 2 ends? Well, you see here, this one has, maybe you can see it, this one has 1 plate on this end and it has 2 plates back here. That's because it's really important that we make this end, the end opposite the chain, the heaviest part of the anchor, because we want this to fall like this all the way down through the water column every time we put it in the water. We want it to fall like that. And by ensuring that this end is the heaviest end, it'll fall exactly how we want it to every single time. Next up, why are these teeth different lengths? Well, do you notice that this box anchor is sloping down? It's not parallel to the table. That's by design. I believe that by having the front teeth shorter than the back, these will grab first and begin to set the anchor. As it's being pulled forward, the back teeth will grab first, and it just something about that ankle has really made a difference for me, and it just locks in place. In fact, it sets so quickly that I often have to be really cautious about when I'm wrapping the rope around the cleat. You know, if I know that that anchor is in fact set in place, I've got to really be careful to make sure that I don't get my fingers underneath that rope, because when this thing is set, it is locked, and it's not coming out until you drive ahead of the anchor and pull it out, essentially in reverse. One more thing about these teeth, you'll notice that they have somewhat of a point there. These are still blunt. I'm going to cut these off on those Sharpie lines. You can do that with a hacksaw, you can do it with your grinder, whatever. But in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a good idea to run these to a super sharp point. It could damage the deck of your boat. But more importantly, when you're bringing this anchor in, if you were to set it on your foot and you got it to a sharp point, it's going to hurt a whole lot more than if there's at least a little bit of a blunt tip there. That being said though, when I first made this anchor and first started using it, the teeth were blunt. And there is a noticeable, very noticeable increase in the amount of set time between them being totally blunt and being somewhat pointed. These dig in much faster than if you leave them totally blunt. So let's talk about sticking these pieces together in an effort to make something that looks kind of like that. Remember when I told you that you don't need special tools to do this job? Truth is, you really don't. You really only need those. The reason for that is, if you follow the steps in this video to have fully cut and fully cleaned pieces, if you notice how clean these are, there's no rust, these are totally ready to weld. You do that work ahead of time, you take some screenshots from this video, go down to your local welding shop. I think you'll be surprised at just how inexpensive it will be to have them stick this together for you, and then you didn't need a welder. I happen to have a welder on site, so I'm going to stick this together right now, and then we'll move on. Well folks, there we have it. Right, wrong, or indifferent, these are my version 1 and version 2 box anchors. This one is the one I've been using for the last couple years to do all my fishing on the Mississippi River. It holds the Lucille 4 rock steady in almost every situation. This is version 2. So what are the differences? They're both 24 pounds. Actually, this one is 24 pounds and 5 ounces. But this one has 3-inch side plates, and it has blunt ends. Whereas this one has 2-inch side plates and pointed ends. On this version, the 2-inch side plates give me a little bit longer teeth for a little bit more penetration into a soft bottom, whether it be sand or mud. That might help. And then these pointed ends, I'm hoping will allow me to anchor with a little bit more precision. Let me tell you what I mean by that. When this one is falling through the water, this blunt edge is pushing a lot of water. Let's say it's 60 feet deep and this thing's got to fall all the way to the bottom and there's a 2-mile-an-hour current. It's really hard to predict exactly where this will fall because it's being pushed by the current at a given speed, so it will drift back from where it entered the water. My hope is that this one will fall at a faster rate due to that point. I want to know if you guys agree with me. Do you think that'll make a difference? Do you think that'll help me to be more precise in where my anchor lands? I think I'm going to measure the difference in the fall rate. I think I'll do a little drag race with them. I'll drop them both in 50 feet of water and time how long it takes them to get to the bottom, and let's see if it makes a difference. I want to know what you guys think. I want you to predict it, because I'll do a follow-up to this video later. So hit the comment section below and let me know if you guys think that the pointed end versus the blunt end will make a difference when I'm precision anchoring. So yeah, I'm gonna slap some paint on this thing and get it out there on the boat and hopefully do some fishing. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to hit me in the comment section below. Let me know if you think that the pointed ends are going to make a difference. And, let's talk about it. If you've got some tips or tricks on anchors that you want to make suggestions on, put those down there too. I read all my comments and respond to most. See you next time.